NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing. 10,000 horsepower propel these cars from 0 to 300 miles per hour faster than anything else on planet Earth. One mistake or one mechanical failure at those speeds can spell disaster, quickly reminding us that 10,000 horses are hard to tame. Buckle up and hang on as we bring you some of the most amazing crashes and breathtaking moments you'll ever see. This is NHRA Thrills and Spills. Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of NHRA Thrills and Spills. I'm your host, Dave Reed. By now you know that the birthplace of drag racing is beautiful sunny Southern California. And surrounding this area there were many legendary racetracks where hot rodders first took their cars from this street to the strip. Irwindale, Orange County, Lions Drag Strip, just to name a few. But none has stood the test of time like Pomona Raceway here at the LA County Fairplex, the beginning and end of every NHRA Mellow Yellow drag racing season. And speaking of 2013, boy, the men and women put on another amazing show this year with some exciting and some frightening moments along the way. Now, a quick disclaimer, in any of the incidents you're about to see, nobody sustained any serious injuries, and for that we're thankful. But having said that, if you didn't see a drag race in 2013, shame on you. But here's a little taste of what you missed. This is the NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle belonging to the Mellow Yellow champ in 2013, Matt Smith, and it is one diabolical ride. 375 horsepower, 0 to 60 miles per hour in a second, topping out at nearly 200 in the space of a quarter mile. All of this with no seatbelt, no roll cage, and only a leather suit to protect you if you go down. Talk to anybody who races this category for a living, they'll tell you riding a pro stock motorcycle is not easy. What did I say?
One of the reasons why I think a pro stock motorcycle is so hard to ride is we're not actually strapped into a seat and sitting in something. We're sitting on the motorcycle, seats cut out as more of a concave deal for your butt to fit in there. And when you pop the clutch, you got 3 G-forces pulling against you, and they want to pull you off the back of the bike, and you want to go forward out with the bike. So it makes it a little difficult. You have to learn how to tighten up your chest muscles and pull in certain areas to make that inertia moving forward, channel the energy to your butt, and basically use that to hold you in there. The most difficult thing is, it's 3 G-forces, and it wants to pull you off. So you really have to learn how to move with it and not make it move you. It's easy to go out there, pop the clutch, and go. The hardest thing is trying to leave with the motorcycle.
You're not thinking, you're just reacting. It's just from many runs, and that's where experience comes into play. You feel these things sooner, so you're able to make a little correction because it's still early, and then you're able to go straight, where in the beginning, by the time you feel it, now you think about it and you react, now it's really making its move. So definitely, seat time is key.
Hold your breath. This is what can happen when things go wrong on a pro stock motorcycle. Things can get really ugly really fast. Don't go anywhere because we're just getting up to speed. Coming up, more crash bang action from the world's fastest accelerating cars, including one of the scariest moments of 2013. Antron Brown walks us through this wild ride at Pomona. Plus, some of Pro Stock's finest tell us what it's like to end up on your roof. And we talk funny cars. What happens when a good run goes bad? All that and more when NHRA Thrills and Spills continue.
It's like having advance notice an earthquake is coming.
Take the craziest, loudest rock concert you've ever been to and multiply it by about 20.
We are back with more NHRA Thrills and Spills. The NHRA Top Fuel Dragster, just like this one, the Mac Tools Chip Fu Specialty Design car driven by Doug Coletta, there is no way you can go from 0 to 330 miles per hour faster, like 3.7 seconds. When the car launches, 5 Gs force the driver into the trunk of the car. Then it shifts to a negative 6 Gs. When the parachutes come out, the driver's nose heads for the dashboard. With physical forces acting like that on both car and driver, what could possibly go wrong? The NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series starts and ends every season here at the beautiful Auto Club Raceway Pomona. Each year, the first race brings new hope for the season, and each year champions are crowned at the season's final event. Antron Brown was standing about right here in 2012 when he clinched the Top Fuel World Championship. His childhood dream became a reality on that day. Well, just 3 months later, Antron returned to Pomona as the reigning series champion. And in the second round of racing, his dream became a nightmare. Antron's engine exploded. Shrapnel took out his rear tires, and all the Ant could do was hold on and take a wild ride.
I just remember everything just going away really fast. You know, I just remember seeing the finish line coming up, just about to push my button on the parachute, and then it just all just broke loose. That's the most horrible feeling you want driving any kind of race vehicle and being in competitions when you lose control, because so used to having control of the car where you steer it right, steer it left, it responds, and no matter what I did, it wasn't doing nothing. It was just going to do what it wanted to do, and once it went airborne, I knew that I was just pretty much just holding it together, just staying aware of everything that's around me, where I was at, and just trying to figure out, like, okay, when is it going to stop? The thing about driving these cars is that they accelerate so fast, your body is used to slowing things that happen fast down, because we're so used to the rate of acceleration, how quick they accelerate. So when everything started going wrong, I automatically felt the car like I went forward, where all I could see was the floorboard. Then by the time when my head rebounded back up, I didn't even see in front of me, I was seeing the sky, because the car already spun around and went up, and I was looking up at the sky, and I could see some of the grandstands like behind me, and that's when you're like, whoa, I shouldn't be seeing this deal. And then I felt the big percussion to hit, where the car hit the wall and bounced back off and went a different direction. I just remember hitting it, rebounding, and then I was going in different directions, like, all right, and then I knew that the severe part's tapering down, because I felt the car just grinding on the side, like slowing down, and that's when I was like, all right, I'm okay. How awesome that the safety safari was is when I got into the sand trap and the car just came to, like, it finally stopped. I looked out of the windshield of our race car and I saw the truck already stopped, and I saw him running towards me. That was like a little kid seeing Santa Claus.
A run down the drag strip takes just a few seconds, but in that time, so much happens. And the only way to really see it is to slow the action down. Check out these amazing super slow-mo images. Coming up on NHRA Thrills and Spills.
When cleaning your Wally, a light dusting usually will suffice. For more aggressive cleaning, sure, water would work, but mellow yellow really seems to do the trick.
Jack Beckman is one of the funniest guys in the funny car pits.
Can we do that again?
But when it comes to safety, he's as serious as they come. Fast Jack shows us how drivers protect themselves from fires like this. Ron Capps tells us what it's like when you're driving this and it turns into this. And we do a little cooking, NHRA style. Do not touch that remote. We've got lots more in store for you on NHRA Thrills and Spills.
Nailed it. Nailed it. Thank you.
Nothing beats a Sunday drive. Just mash the gas and let her rip. It's just that simple, right? Welcome back to NHRA Thrills and Spills in the pits at Pomona. The NHRA Pro Stock Racer has one of the toughest jobs in all of racing. First, you have to drop the clutch and cut a better light than the guy in the lane next to you. Then you have to shift precisely at the right time every time, sawing your way through 4 gear shifts. All of this while keeping the car in the middle of the groove. Jeg Coughlin, the Pro Stock champion, is one of the best ever at doing that. But talk to some of the other drivers in the category, they'll agree. You make one misstep on the road to the finish line, you can have your world turned upside down.
It felt like I had just been driving on a nice dry freeway and went in and ran through miles of oil-soaked highway. Not that there was oil on the track, but or water or anything. The track was fine.
I left the starting line, everything was cool. The second gear, everything was cool, and all of a sudden, that car turned 90 degrees to the left, right towards the wall, like I drove over a banana peel.
It rotated over. It went left a little bit, and then it rotated over on the right rear tire, and kind of turned up on 2 wheels, and went head on into the wall.
The car turned instantly sideways, and I turned the wheel, and all of a sudden, everything went instantly quiet. The car wasn't on the road anymore. The wheels weren't on the road anymore. It was upside down. The horizon was upside down. It was the craziest thing I had ever seen in my life. I don't know what to think.
In my case, it was the first time, my first race in a Pro Stock car. And, you know, I felt like I had waited most of my adult life for that moment. And all I could think of when the car was turning over was, you know, I'd waited this long to do it, and I messed it up on the first try.
Sliding backwards down the racetrack, and I was watching it grind the carburetors down. The pavement was grinding the carburetors off of the engine.
I just knew I was going to hit something hard, and I never did. Somebody steered that car between all the guardrails all the way down through the finish line on its lid, ground right through the lid on the thing, and never hit a wall. So, craziest feeling in my life.
I really thought I was going to get fired.
A lesson learned, and 100% driver error. I've had those same situations happen 2 more times since then, but this time I was smart enough to just abort the run and live to race another day.
You just have to know when to lift, and you can come back and try it again the next time.
It's on the mind of every NHRA drag racer, especially the men and women who drive funny cars. It's fire, and it can make a driver's situation go from bad to worse. This is the office of the now 16-time NHRA Mellow Yellow Funny Car World Champion John Force. You know, the NHRA mandates lots of safety features for these cars. There is the roll cage, as well as the 6-point harness that's designed to keep the driver safe in the event of an impact. There's also an automatic shutoff device on these cars that will stop the engine and deploy the parachutes. And on the cars as well, 2 fire bottles with lines directed exactly where they needed to be directed to extinguish flames. But if you talk to Fast Jack Beckman, he will tell you that fire protection starts with the driver.
A few years ago, a fan asked me, "Aren't you afraid of fire?" And I said, "No, but I'm afraid of getting burned." Fires in funny cars, 40 years ago to today, are something that you see almost no injuries. And the reason is NHRA has significantly upped the minimum standards for driver's protection. It's important to recognize the NHRA standards are minimum. In other words, us drivers can elect to wear even more than is mandated. For instance, I wear thermal underwear, tops and bottoms, underneath the multi-layer fire suit. Before I put my fire boots on, I wear a fire retardant shoe underneath for an extra level of protection. Before I put my fire gloves on, I put on a carbon Kevlar heat-resistant glove underneath that. All the helmets in Nitro Funny Car are mandated to be equipped with a fire-resistant skirt, and underneath that, we all put on a head sock. When you put all this together, it adds about 15 to 17 pounds to the driver's weight. It makes you sweat, and it's very uncomfortable. But if you ever have a big fire in one of these things, you're going to thank goodness that you've worn everything that was available to you.
Of course, things get hot in these race cars when they become an inferno, but even during the course of a normal run, temperatures skyrocket inside these engines. Just look at the Capco crew, members of Torrance Racing, all of them wearing gloves to protect themselves from the intense heat. These are the clutch discs just out of the car. What kind of heat are we talking about? Intense heat. For more, what do you say we eat it up now with Mike Dunn? Bon appetit!
I was classically trained by my dad in the garage, and my specialty was clutches, you know, and the clutches, when they make a run, making 10,000 horsepower, they build a lot of heat from all that friction slipping that clutch trying to get it hooked up. So we got a couple clutch plates here, probably about 800 degrees. Can we cook anything on that?
I think we can try.
Well, what do you got here?
All right, we got a little bit of steak here. And normally if you're searing a steak on a grill, it is about 800 degrees, which is what these are. So it's the perfect temperature. See if we can make a little toast as well. Oh, see, look at that already. It's got a nice sear.
And I love the clutch dust right there, you know, that's added flavor there, isn't
Extra flavor. Do you like your toast burnt?
You know, as long as it's got a little butter on it, I'm good with it.
Well, I think that steak is the perfect medium rare right now. We do have a volunteer. This is Steve Tucker. He's one of our sponsors here for Clay Milliken.
That's about a perfect medium rare, isn't it?
Oh.
Good stuff. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for more. And we've got more right around the corner. We promised you funny car explosions. We've got them. Plus, a look at some of the most hair-raising moments we've ever seen. NHRA Thrills and Spills rolls on next. Welcome back to NHRA Thrills and Spills. Now let's see. We've covered funny car fires. That leaves, aha, explosions. We've all driven on the highway at 55 miles an hour. Just imagine launching yourself 6 times faster than that in the space of just 1,000 feet. Now imagine your car bursting into flames all around you. You've got to get it stopped and get out safely. Inconceivable? Well, that's just another day at the office for an NHRA funny car driver.
As you can see, this is our office. We have a carbon fiber Dodge Charger body sitting over me. Now, believe it or not, this is a very comforting feeling as a funny car driver. You have your parachutes mounted on one side, but when they drop the body down, as you can tell, you're back here quite a ways. In fact, the side windows that a lot of fans think that we can see out of, I can't even reach. In fact, they're not even reachable to here. This is how far back we are in a funny car. So here you are going along on a run. Great run. The last thing you ever think is going to happen is boom. And when it goes boom, it goes from having a feeling of shelter like this to this. And this is not what you want as a funny car driver, but now that the explosion has happened, the body is now gone. More than likely, you got fire all around you. Okay, now, you've been through this a million times in your head. What do you do to get the car stopped safely, as well as safely as you can anyway? Now, you know for sure the safety system that NHRA has implemented has already shut the fuel off for you and has put the parachutes out. So your job as a driver is to try to keep it off the wall, get the fire extinguisher bottles on, safely pull the brakes, making sure that there's no oil in the tires. You don't want to pull the brakes too hard, but what you want to do is get it safely stopped, because I guarantee you the safety safari is already waiting for you.
When you make it to the Pomona Drags, be sure to also plan some time and check out the NHRA Motorsports Museum. When you see the NHRA founder Wally Parks at the front of the building, you know you're there. Behind these doors, some of the historical hardware that's allowed the NHRA to race into its 7th decade. Speaking of that, we dug into our own archives for some of the hairiest and scariest moments throughout that time, as if you needed further proof to know these drivers have nerves of steel. Check it out. We hope you've had a great time at one of the most famous, let's face it, beautiful racetracks we have in all of motorsports. Auto Club Raceway at Pomona, truly a legendary piece of real estate. Unfortunately and sadly, we have to pull the parachute on another edition of NHRA Thrills and Spills. But do not despair. As long as we've got brave racers that push the envelope, walk that razor's edge between glory and absolute disaster, there will be more NHRA Thrills and Spills, and we'll be there to capture them. Until then, I'm Dave Reed. So long, everybody. NHRA Thrills and Spills is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.